and comes to again back towards the Bay of Bengal, the Brahmaputra. And if you go even eastern side, this Irrawaddy, the Salween, the Mekong, they all take roots, or their headwaters are in the Himalayas. That's the third pole. Even Huangho and Yangtze, they also take from the same Tibetan plateau. So I think half of the humanity, or maybe more of the humanity, are dependent upon the Himalayan ecosystem. So the Himalayas are growing, and they are ever changing. They are our assured source of water, and water is the critical thing which will determine as to whether the world would live in peace or in war in future. Water security is the biggest concern today in the world. I was just reading an article where they said that when the Soviet Union, they started exploiting the Sir Darya and the Amu Darya for cotton production in the Central Asia, the water reduced, and Aral Sea, which was a great stabilizer of the climate there, that has disappeared. And I think it's almost disappeared, leading to huge salinity, leading to the cold wind blowing from Siberia carrying salt up to the Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan, and they say that maybe in future these Central Asian countries would fight with each other over the very scarce source of Sir and Amu Darya. Same is with Blue Nile, same everywhere. Population is growing, water sources are diminishing. So the whole world is in crisis. I think which would bring us all together is to assure the water security for the whole planet. So this sort of a international workshop right in the foothills of Himalayas is certainly a very welcome thing, and I welcome all the participants who have come here, and I think they would deliberate, because we have a very fuzzy idea about what is going on. There are many institutions, integrated mountain development, which are operating from Kathmandu. They also make very alarming sort of predictions, as if there is some existential threat. Certainly there is a threat, but I think we should have a very sober, scientific sort of an approach towards this thing. We should have the data necessary to actually predict. Yes, we know the direction. We know that water is reducing. It's a common it's experience. When I was a child, I come from hills, so there were a lot of springs around in my village, and we would go along with our elders to fetch water from the springs, because pipe water supply was not that fashionable those days. Period, or they are in a very poor. The water coming out of this discharge is very much reduced. So we know the direction that water is reducing, whether it is the underground water or whether it is the surface water. But by what extent?
Has scientific significance, because over the recent years, the Ladakh is seeing a new era of change, and the new era of change in the development is also coinciding with the implications of climate change over all the mountain areas in the world, the Hindu Kush Himalayas and the Indian Himalayas as well. So talking about the sustainability, talking about the challenges of climate change in mountain systems becomes very, very relevant. I am very happy that the advisor to Lieutenant Governor, he focused on very, very pertinent issues. In fact, a few months back, we were here and over the dinner, we were discussing a lot of issues. In fact, Professor Talat Saab was also there in that meeting. And we discussed that how the changing climate is bringing new layers of risk of disasters as well. But challenges of disasters are not coming alone. So disasters are the extreme events. Most of the time we look from the point of view of the catastrophe or the sudden dangers of high magnitude. But the sudden dangers of high magnitude, we often see that coming as an unprecedented, without any kind of a warning, but that is not a reality. There are a series of warnings, there are a series of alerts with scientific soundness, with proper planning. We are able to understand, we are able to capture those warnings. And if those early warnings, I say that not the early warning of few days or few weeks or few months, but much earlier warnings, that what is likely to be the consequence if we do not take care of the relationship between development and the natural systems, and how do we effectively address. I'm very happy to see Mr. Tabka. We have been interacting in Delhi in several meetings, pre-COVID also, and I think I am seeing you after a few years. So it's really wonderful to see you. I was expecting my other colleagues from EC Mode and GB Pump also, but you are here, so I find a good representation.
It's an old Sanskrit word for the abode of snow, and the changing situation due to the climate change effects and impacts on different aspects of the real life worlds of so many people. I think it is worth to reconsider once the historical dimension of research in the Himalayan region and all the scales. Some of my of the earlier addresses, they gave some ideas about the context of scale, that in different parts of the 2,500 kilometer long Himalayan arc, things are different, but some things are the same. The people really depend on the water of the Himalayan region. And this situation is changing rapidly. And when I come to the Ladakh, to the land of the high passes, we can see it in an extreme way. I first came to Ladakh in the year 2007, and ever since then I have been here almost every year. And over this short period of time, it was easy to recognize some of the most dramatic changes that we have to analyze, and we have to respond to. Not only the changes in glaciers and seasonal snow cover, permafrost, but also the way in which people have to respond to these extreme challenges. What are the adaptation strategies? Where are the potential solutions to cope with these extreme challenges that the local people, but also the people in the lowlands of India, Pakistan and Nepal have to face, also Bangladesh of course. It's not only the local situation or the regional context, it's also the highland, lowland interactive situation that needs to be taken into consideration. Taking this,
why this Himalayan environment in climate change scenario, the topic is chosen. To my mind, the mighty Himalaya is subject to several stresses since its birth. 50 to 55 billion years, and it formed, it was subjected to several stresses. It is whether it is tectonic stress or hydrometeorological changes happen. Climate change is not a new phenomenon. Climate change is happening in every intermediate geological ages. You might remember that dinosaur 65 million years ago in Cretaceous era, it disappeared due to the deciduous climate change. So maybe the causes could be geogenic or non-geogenic, anthropogenic. Suppose there is no any anthropogenic causes, then whether you can expect that there is no climate change? I think there is a climate change occurring because of the, if there is a disturbance in the axis of rotation of the earth, then it is bound to be changed in secular motion. If there is a secular motion, is the weather changes. So the cumulative effect of the centuries, minimum 30 years you are taking, if you take there is a climate change. So you go for all the history, you can find that climate change is taking place as a cycle. But here the challenge is adaptability and adoption, how to survive in the climate changes. Many manifestations of climate change have been said that there is the too much rainfall going to lead the flood, scanty rainfall going to the drought. There is the Gulf glacial lake outburst. There may be a sea level rise, humidity and temperature changes. These are the proxies of the climate changes. But there are also many proxies of the climate changes which still to know. And there is now new proxies is modulation of seismicity in the polar region, in the glacial melt cryoseismicity is taking place. They are giving the information that how the melting of the ice is taking place. This is the new topic of the research, what we are doing, and my center, National Center of Seismology, which is led by me, is now on the job to doing that.
In their talks, they have given the explanation what is going to, what it was and what going to be happen and what will be the its consequences until and unless we have not taken the concern of each individual. So Himalaya is Dr. Pawan Paswal is already said it's the roof, is also called the roof of the world, just because of existence of mighty Himalayas like Mount Everest, Kanchenjunga, and Ganga Parvat, and even the Hindu Kush, K2. So it also known as when we are studying in the school, it also Himalaya also known as a tower of water tower of Asia, because this entire Asia, almost the entire subcontinent of India is studied by Himalayan glacier water. It's the only source of water for the all the Asian region, including our neighboring country China and even Southeast Asia. So today's topic is from this topic, from your this deliberation, from this 5 days session, we can especially being a policymaker of Ladakh and UT administration and other, we will expect a good recommendation that we inculcate in our policy. So far the environment is concerned, so far the reduction in carbon emission is concerned. So Himalaya is not just a mountain, it is also it attracts lots of tourists for trekking, hiking, for expedition, sand case with Ladakh, because of its mesmerizing landscapes. And along with this, is not just Himalaya is not only a what we call is a geological wonder, but it also play a very important role in the ecosystem, global ecosystem. It existence of its lakes, there are so many lakes are there, and there are so many wetlands are there, which play a very important role in macro level of ecosystem. Even in Ladakh, there is so many, if you talk about the flora and fauna, there's a very famous, we can say the snow leopard, black-necked crane, and all the carnivores like wolf and lynx and antelopes, ibex, and numbers of hundreds of.
We have assembled here for a very important matter which affects not only Ladakh but the entire Himalayan region. Actually, by extension, these regions is also impacting the whole world. And the subject is so important that not even a single person here or anywhere should remain untouched by the awareness of this very important issue. I welcome the foreign delegates here who are present with us, and I'm sure they would be sharing their thoughts with us for the betterment of the environment of this region. We in India, we worship Himalaya. And the worship, it is not only the worship for religious purpose, it is acknowledging the importance of the entire environment which obtains in this region. We, in our literature, everywhere, we say Gauri Guru Pavana. That means Gauri Guru is Himalaya. Gauri is Lord Shiva's wife. She is supposed to be daughter of Himalaya. And then we say Pavana. Pavana is sacred. So the entire context of this expression, it only assigns importance to the Himalayan environment. If you look at it scientifically, unless we have respect, unless we honor, unless we say good words, and unless we cherish some object, we cannot preserve it. So on that score, all this which I am mentioning to you about Himalaya, it is a motivation, it is a self-motivation, a self-push for everyone that you respect this, respect the environment, respect entire ecological balance in Himalayas. And this we have been following right from the beginning. I want to tell you that in 1964, I was a captain. 1964, probably many might not be here. I was a captain. And I was posted in Nagaland. There was an air maintain post, Thiwati post. Air maintain means that anything that you have to eat, it has got to come by air. So that was hill region, Himalayas there, and there was no airstrip, and the aircrafts couldn't land. So from aircraft used to come, dive low, and everything used to be thrown. Atta, things like that, and 4 or 5 layers. So my task there was, I was commanding company is about 120 men. So my task was that we should ensure peace in that area, because insurgents used to come and disturb peace in that area. So we have to go to the watershed, that is between then Burma, now Myanmar and India. And that was very thick jungle, and as we used to start patrolling, that is about 3-4 nights out, nights and days. And those days we did not have very good protective clothing in Indian Army. Now of course everything is very good in Indian Army. So our socks used to remain wet, our shoes used to remain wet, and our clothing, even the raincoat, that rain cape that used to put on, that also used to get wet. But despite that, all my troops, they never cut a tree, because for sleeping, during the night, we had to make our river. Not a shrub, not a tree, not a branch was cut by our people, because we in Indian Army had that ethics that we are not going to disturb the environment. And whatsoever foliage we got, dry leaves and all that, very rare dry leaves we used to protect ourselves with that.
Jab Singh